Okay, so hi James. In our previous discussions about the way you run webinars, we were talking about how you would get the students into breakout groups to work on a task, and actually doing something like that would prevent those awkward pauses when students are sent into breakout groups and they don't know each other. And usually, if they're just given a question to discuss, there are these awkward pauses. Students have told me about how it's really hard to work together on something when they don't know the other people that they're in a breakout group with. So how do you overcome that in your online webinars?
Okay, thanks, Lillian. So one of the things I've been doing to try and improve the quality of breakout room activities with students is to use Xerti objects, interactive Xerti objects, as a focus for discussion and interaction and collaboration among students. So I'm going to switch to a Xerti object I've made now. Can you see that?
Yep.
Cool. So this is in the Department of Education, it's extremely important that the students have a good understanding of the marking criteria for essays and assignments. And I made a little Xerti object to help students understand this better. So there are 4 columns: relevance and task completion, argument and analysis, use of sources and referencing, and structure and style. There are topics up here, and students have to drag them into the correct column. So for example, clear and logical structure would probably go in structure and style. Now, the best way to make this useful in a breakout room activity is to follow the instructions up here. Work in small groups. One group member should share their screen. So by getting one group member to share their screen and getting other students to discuss the points, where should it go? Should it go here? Should it go here? Should it go here? We get students to work together. This student cohort are quite used to interactive tasks, and I think getting students to work together on an interactive and dynamic task like this, where they have to actually move things around, decide where it goes, it provides a more meaningful and valuable focus to a discussion than just providing some questions. So by giving them an interactive task, it encourages more collaboration and interaction in breakout rooms. It gives students something to talk about immediately once they go in.
Brilliant. So you were saying as well that we were trying to encourage the students to kind of speak up a little bit more. And do you find that when you're running these breakout groups, and I believe you do pop into the breakout groups as students are working on these tasks. So what have you noticed about their behavior?
Well, it's definitely providing something like this. It gives students a lot of prompts and a lot of scaffolding. So it helps them discuss these more easily, but also it provides them with an opportunity to discuss more deeply what they're talking about. Logical and thoughtful arguments, it might go in argument or analysis, or it might go in relevance and task completion. There's a space there for students to discuss why might it go in one or the other, and that opens the door to more deep and engaged discussion. Certainly, when teachers go around into breakout rooms, you can find that some students are going to be more interactive. There's also the risk, however, that some students will stop talking to other students and start talking to the teacher instead, which might not be what the teacher wants. So in order to counteract that, you could respond by, perhaps you could mute your video, appear there surreptitiously, or just remind the students of the importance of not responding to the teacher there and just carry on talking as they were.
Yes, that's always difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Knowing how much presence to have in your breakout groups. But yeah, those are all very useful tips. And what happens when the breakout group finishes and you're brought back into the main room?
Well, one of the advantages of a Xerti task, of course, is that students can check the answers easily themselves. So these are self-marking tests. It saves time in a short seminar where you don't have to go through the questions one by one. But one thing I did find was before the end of a breakout room, it's worth going round the groups and checking that students understand why each point goes in each column. Often you can have interesting and meaningful discussions with students where they might come up with a very good reason why arguments are supported by evidence should be in this column and not this column, for example. So they can come up with very good reasons using language, all of which is a great opportunity for students with English as a second language to improve their language ability and get some practice in using quite complex English forms.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing that. Is there anything else you'd like to say about running breakout groups and webinars?
Just that I think, especially for a session with a focus on collaborative and communicative work, breakout rooms should be like the vast majority of a class. I normally would say that a good Zoom class has nearly all of the focus is on breakout rooms. Students can get much more meaningful interaction in small groups. And so it's worth thinking about what you can do to really make that breakout room time really valuable, give students a really important task to do. Not just some discussion questions, that's a good place to start, but think about how you could expand on those discussion questions. Think about different ways to do online tasks in small groups and then check them together in the main group.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks.